Sup, ladies and gentlemen, Sam Battlefield here. Thank you very much for joining me on my journey into the ecological dynamics approach for grappling and the CLA approach, or the constraint-led approach to grappling. As mentioned in my previous videos, I really wanted to focus on my planning because I jumped into a couple of sessions where I just didn't plan as well as I probably wanted to, they were still pretty good, but they weren't. I wasn't 100% confident in what I'd done. So I really this time I did a bit of research on open guards and that sort of thing, and then whereas before when I did the research, what I'd be doing is I'd be looking for the three steps, so the sort of the three core main movements, and then the three core details of those movements that would allow me to then teach, essentially, here's three steps, let's see if we can get it, and here's three things that will help you do it. What I've found is I'm actually distilling those three things into what are those movement outcomes that I'm looking for, which makes sense. I'm looking for a goal outcome. I'm looking to achieve a goal. Yeah, that's probably a better way to put it. And today, obviously, we've been working on open guard recently, and what I started the session with, as I've mentioned, for the past year and a half, or maybe a year and a bit, I've been doing basically just a positional drill where we just get in the position, not do anything, not necessarily do anything. There's a little bit of and then he pushes down, step by step stuff. But what had helped people do in the past, I thought, was identify what position they were in, and for the most part, I think it did work in helping people identify it. So when we came to certain different positions, I wouldn't have to be like, now here is where your leg is meant to be, and that sort of thing. So, but what I've done is I've kind of used that drill, and I've chopped it up a bit, and I'm using that drill to relate to destabilization. So in each position that they get in now, I'm like, okay, person on top is trying to stop you, person on the bottom is trying to take you, put you on your butt, basically, or destabilize you in any way that they can. Right? So what I can sort of see it doing is, it's a simple, they're understanding the position, but they're also understanding certain elements of, okay, how do you get someone off balance in those positions? So and it was quite interesting even today, because I jumped in and did it. I'm trying to get a bit more involved in these games as well. Part of that is for my own development. I believe in this very strongly, and I don't want to just be the coach on the sidelines trying to pick stuff up. I want to be in there as well, because I think it's improving my game like nothing else, right? It's getting me in the zone. I've mentioned it before on this channel. It's getting me in the zone, and so I'm like, I don't want to sit out. I want to get in the zone again. I want to be in that sweet spot. Anyway, so like I've been doing, and what I want to do, as mentioned, is go through the aspect of the design and execution. So what goals did I have, and what affordances were the learners invited to act upon? I really I think doing this debrief also helped me focus on the outcomes as well, and what kept me to account, which was really awesome. because this is all about me, of course. But yeah, so first thing we did was essentially shoulder to shoulder. So him facing me, but his opposite shoulder on my shoulder when I'm sitting down in like an open guard. One leg is on the outside, right? And one leg in kind of just in between their knees, right? And so there was kind of like you were hugging their shoulder and they were hugging your shoulder. And the only thing that needed to be done was taking the back, right? So, and by taking the back, literally the only goal was to get to get both hooks in, right? So it didn't matter how, but to get both hooks in. Now, in the morning session, this was good because we had it was originally just me and Aaron, and then another bloke, Dennis, rocked up, and Dennis is a strong dude, like real solid. I mean, bodybuilder size, solid, like big bloke, former military, has strength, has base, all that kind of thing. Basically, he's got about a year's worth of jiu-jitsu experience, so he's not brand new, but he still has quite a long way to go. Obviously, we all do, but his strength and his base and his broadness is something that really was really cool to have to contend with. So, but then we did kind of like a round robin, or we changed partners, flipped over, person on top, person on bottom. And it was really cool. There was a couple of emergent behaviours from the person on top trying to stop that. So on the same side, their knee would come up to kind of try and block them coming back around that shoulder and out the back. And another thing that came up was as soon as that sort of thing happened, the person on the bottom might flip and get a hold of the other arm and try and do something that way. So, but yeah, it was actually no, that was for the second game. Forget I said anything for that. But the first game, the goal was just to get the hook in, and what I found with Aaron is his emergent behaviour was he would get on top. So the affordance was that they already kind of had access to the back, but they were hips sort of facing offset, if that makes sense. So essentially the affordance is they had to get their hip around in order to get their foot in. Now, myself, Aaron tended to go up and around and then hook his leg in, whereas I tended to get up and then pull. That's my chair straining under my weight, but he'd pull him in, right? So I'd pull at the lat and then get my hook in that way. So, I mean, it's kind of testament to the different dexterities, I suppose. I'm pretty sure that's the terminology. Anyway, so that was the first one, and then the second one was you're holding the same side hand. So this time there's no other connection, and in fact, the open guard, so the feet are actually out of the way of the knees. So you basically elbows to knees, you're sitting up, and you've just got one arm. You're just holding one arm, so one wrist. Slap, bump, and then the goal is to get their shoulder on your chest, right? And again, I didn't say how or why or what to do, but the emergent behaviour was there was an arm drag where they collected behind the arm, and it was quite interesting watching Aaron do it because he pushed the arm away instead of dragging it through underneath his armpit. He kind of shoved it back in to the opponent's stomach, which was cool. And and then you'd move away. And the other thing was using the foot to kick them out. So it was really cool because I saw all that, but I also saw all that in the tutorials that I'd watched in my research phase. So it was really cool to see it happen without actually, without actually sort of teaching it. Not that I needed to teach Aaron, but the same, similar things happened with Dennis as well. So that was cool. It also showed me just the importance of it, of sort of off balancing, and I brought back the tabletop analogy essentially, where just even slightly moving someone out of their base, it creates a destabilization which allows a lot of this stuff to go on. So design of the session, I thought it was pretty good. What I wanted to do, or what I would have liked to have done in hindsight, is I would have liked to have combined the two. So started at holding the wrist, and then trying to get to both hooks in. But I still believe that they both have benefit, because even just getting to a point where you've got that, you've got the arm over the back, you're already in a good position there, and you've already fought for that in a game a couple of times. So I thought that was good. Insights wise, there was also good insights, although again, I probably need to listen more. Maybe I need to listen a bit more. I also ran a private session on during the day, on exactly the same thing, exactly the same games, and exactly the same things. The difference being is that Jaden had no shirt. No long sleeve shirt, or no rashy. So, like, when it was sweaty, I just had no grip. But what I also recognised, I know I'm a bit off track here, but what I also recognised is I wasn't combining my entire body. I was just, again, being lazy and reaching for everything, rather than engaging my entire body, essentially, and off-balancing them, destabilising with feet, blah, blah, blah. And when I did, it worked. So what went well, and why in these areas? We did all this. Instructional constraints, informational constraints. I think I did quite well with this. I think because I'd planned quite well. And one of the only concerns I suppose I would have is that there is some of the things that emerged, such as that knee coming up to block them going around. What it did is it stopped the actual emerging behaviour that I wanted, which was going around the back. But the way I also looked at it was, well, like, he's trying to block it, but ultimately that put me in side control. So ultimately it was it slowed him down from being from having his back taken. It still put him in a non-dominant position, or there was a dominant position taken from me. I was still able to get into a dominant position, so it just stopped the back take. So I'm not even sure if that's really a bad thing, because it had the same outcome. The goal, it stopped the goal, so the goal was to take the back. It stopped the goal, but as a learning design, it wasn't a flaw. So it's not like the learning representative learning design I was like, oh well, he did this, and so therefore the entire premise of it is out the window. What could I improve? Yeah, I'd say I'd say it would be in the small detail stuff. Yeah, I think that would be the main thing. Anyway, thank you for joining me on the constraint-led approach and ecological dynamics. I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.